Friends, numerous videos back, we converted this, my Poseidon Redwood, to a dingle speed, manual shifting with the barrel adjuster drivetrain setup. And while there was tons of people who were like, this is sick, I'm gonna do that, there was, of course, the comments of like, why would, I understand that it's cool that you can, but why would you do, which is disappointing. I would have thought the majority of my demographic here would have totally got it. But let me answer that question. So let me clear up one thing first. Taking the 10-speed Advent X wide range drivetrain off, that is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous thing to do, to trade out to this dingle speed setup. The reason that I chose this bike specifically was for clicks. Like, that is it. Swapping back and forth is really easy, so there's really no problem there. Now, the reason you might actually want to do this very much falls in line with one of my absolute favorite mantras of one of my heroes, David Freiberger. Don't get it right, just get it running. Say for example, you had like a frame set that you were putting together, you had some wheels that fit, you've got the odd parts, you can throw a bar, a stem, whatever on it, and you're just kind of left with you know, leftover drivetrain parts that aren't all going to work together, but you want to ride that bike that day. And if you can't sympathize with that kind of impatience, what are you doing here right now? You can literally throw any derailleur you have on that will take up the tension on, say, like a vertical dropout frame, or in this case, a through axle frame. So this will give you your tension, and while you're at it, if you had cogs, you can set it up to shift. Extend the barrel adjuster, it pulls tension on the cable, shifting it onto the easier gear. Release the tension by putting the barrel adjuster back in. Boom! You basically just create a friction shifter with a barrel adjuster that you have to do manually off. Ultimately, it can be a means to getting a parts bin bike that you're putting together, riding a lot sooner with a little bit of novelty than like ordering parts, waiting for parts, sourcing parts, whatever. It's just like a really good, quick, use whatever you've got hack to getting a bike on the road and just being a little different than a single speed. I think the way maybe some people see it is like, if I have to run a tensioner anyway and I'm gonna use a derailleur, why not like make it so that I can, and then that argument could go like, why wouldn't you just put a shifter on it so that you can, and then run all the, and then I'm gonna stop you there because you're gonna make my argument fall apart, and I don't appreciate that. Now, admittedly, in the time that we've done the dingle speed downgrade swap on the Redwood from the Advent X, we haven't actually really gone out for a true test ride to see its capabilities, to see where it's at, see what it can do, see if it really lives up to the expectation that I had put out in that video. And initial impression, immediately when I got on the bike, going down the driveway, I literally went to go shift into an easier gear. No shifter there. It looks cool. Any of you who have watched the channel before, you know where I'm going. I'm going to the Spindat pit climb because I want to answer the question, does the dingle speed setup on the Redwood suck? But I keep getting sidetracked with things that for some reason I've never been sidetracked with before. I'm like looking at this, I'm like, this looks like a descent that if I just snipe it just right, I can get out there without going over the bars. And today, while it's covered in snow, for some reason seems like the most appropriate time to give it a shot. Wish me luck. Good luck. Yeah, got it. Nope. There we go. Yeah! Felt so accomplished ever. Okay, before we get to the Spindat pit road climb, we do have to get one good big old skid, 2 wheels through the camera. I promise you, that is more fun to do than it is to watch. I promise. Okay, Spindat pit gravel road climb. It is the challenge that I put each and every bike through. I have no data on the elevation of this hill. I don't know how long it is. I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it's actually less challenging than I make it out to be all the time. The rocks are like kind of big and loose. Everything's probably like a little frozen right now. The snow might be an added challenge. I've ridden on the 14 tooth cog. That is a 38 tooth, so 38/14. And I'll be honest, it's a bit taller of a gear than I would prefer. I'm gonna jump up, I'm gonna shift manually to the 23 tooth, almost a jump of 10 teeth. As a matter of fact, if you do the math, it's a 9 tooth jump into the easier gear that we have here with the Dingle Speed setup, when I definitely could have just easily shifted by hand into a 48 tooth cog on a 10-speed cassette. Yet we've made this change so that there's no shifter on the bar. I'm having a hard time selling this the further I go. All right, here we go. Spindat dirt gravel pit road climb. Oh, the snow. It always ramps up. It hasn't changed near the end. Okay. Yeah, so it did make it up. It wasn't the most pleasant ascent of the Spindat pit gravel dirt road climb, but we got it done. Let's see if we can do a crappy little wall ride on this, which will have nothing to do with the Dingle Speed whatsoever. Nice. Pretty good. Oh, brown keys. There's glass everywhere. This rock is pretty fun. So I left it in the easier gear, the 23 tooth cog for the way back. It's way nicer to ride that way, which kind of tells me I have my gear choice wrong. Like if I'm gonna ride it like this, I'll probably leave it in the 23 tooth always. Smaller chainring might make more sense. But if you're gonna buy a chainring, you may as well just buy a cassette. Or don't take your Advent X off and just use it the way it was. Okay, time for a maybe convoluted verdict on the Dingle Speed setup. So obviously, as a stopgap to get a bike together to ride as quickly as possible, I like that a lot. Reverting from a perfectly working bike to a Dingle Speed setup, if I had to put it into the words that, like, say a seasoned bike reviewer or equipment reviewer would put it, is like having a derailleur with 2 cogs on there gives you the illusion of choice and range with none of the convenience. Okay, hard to make an argument for the Dingle Speed, but if you're interested in doing it, I don't know, maybe you'll have the same realization as me. Okay, all right, okay.